What if you vanished without a trace, only to reappear 5 days later with a story so bizarre, so unbelievable, that it would captivate and divide the world for decades? This isn't the plot of a science fiction movie. It's the real-life account of Travis Walton, a young logger from Arizona whose experience in 1975 remains one of the most compelling and controversial UFO cases in history. It was November 5, 1975. A typical evening for a crew of 7 loggers working in the Apaches at Greaves National Forests. As they were heading home after a long day, something caught their eye. A brilliant, glowing object hovering silently over a clearing. It wasn't a helicopter, it wasn't a plane. It was a saucer-shaped craft, about 20 feet in diameter, humming with an otherworldly energy. Curiosity got the better of Travis Walton. Against the frantic warnings of his crewmates, he got out of the truck and approached the object. What happened next would change his life forever. A beam of bright bluish-green light shot out from the craft, striking Travis. His body was lifted into the air, then thrown back to the ground as if hit by an invisible force. Terrified, his friends panicked. Believing Travis was dead, they sped away, leaving him behind, but guilt and fear quickly set in. They returned to the site minutes later, but the craft and Travis were gone. There was no sign of him, no trace of the struggle, nothing. It was as if he had vanished into thin air. The crew immediately reported the incident to the police. As you can imagine, their story was met with extreme skepticism. A logger claiming his friend was zapped and abducted by a UFO. It sounded like a tall tale, maybe even a cover-up for a terrible accident or something worse. The local sheriff, Ken Jordan, launched a massive search. Helicopters, volunteers on foot and horseback, and police scoured the forest for days. They found nothing, not a single clue. The media descended on the small town of Snowflake, Arizona. The story went national, then global. The remaining 6 loggers became the prime suspects in Travis's disappearance. The pressure was immense. To prove their innocence and the truth of their story, they agreed to take polygraph, or lie detector, tests. One by one, they were hooked up to the machine and questioned intensely. The results were shocking. 5 of the men passed their tests with flying colors. The 6th test was deemed inconclusive due to the individual's emotional state, not because he was found to be lying. An expert examiner concluded they were telling the truth about what they saw. This wasn't a group of people trying to pull a prank. These were hard-working men, risking their reputations, their jobs, and their freedom by sticking to a story that made them sound insane. Their genuine fear and consistent accounts under intense scrutiny lent a strange credibility to an otherwise unbelievable tale. The entire community was on edge. Had Travis been murdered, or was he truly somewhere else? Then 5 days and 6 hours after he disappeared, the mystery took another dramatic turn. Travis Walton was back. A frantic phone call came into his sister's home. It was Travis, disoriented and dehydrated, calling from a payphone in a nearby town. He was found huddled and shivering, wearing the same clothes he had on the night he vanished. He had lost over 10 pounds and had a small puncture mark on his arm. And he had a story to tell. Travis's memories were fragmented at first. He remembered waking up in a room with a curved ceiling, lying on a table. He was in pain, struggling to breathe. Standing over him were not doctors, but 3 short, bald creatures with large, dark eyes and pale skin. They were about 5 feet tall, with no hair, small ears, and almost no nose or mouth. Terrified, he fought back, pushing one of the beings away. They retreated, leaving him alone in the room. He found his way out of that initial examination room and into a corridor that curved around the craft. He entered another, larger room, which looked like a planetarium or a control center. The dome-shaped ceiling showed a starscape. He saw a chair with a control panel. As he approached it, the stars on the ceiling began to move, as if he were looking through the windshield of a ship traveling through space. Suddenly, a figure appeared. This one was different. It looked human, wearing a blue jumpsuit and a clear helmet. The figure didn't speak but gestured for Travis to follow. Relieved to see a human-like form, Travis went with him. They walked through the ship and he was led into what looked like a hangar or a larger bay. Inside were other metallic saucer-shaped crafts. The human-like figure led him to another table where other humans, 2 men and a woman, also in blue jumpsuits but without helmets, gently pushed him down. They placed a clear plastic-like mask over his face, and he blacked out. His next conscious memory was waking up on the side of a highway, the strange craft hovering above him for a moment before silently shooting up into the night sky. He was dazed, confused, and miles from where he had disappeared. His ordeal was over, but his struggle was just beginning. When Travis told his story, the world was divided. Believers hailed it as the most well-documented abduction case ever. Skeptics cried hoax. They pointed to the fact that a tabloid was offering a cash prize for the best UFO story, suggesting the whole thing was a money-making scheme. However, the loggers had no idea about this prize when they first reported the incident. Travis himself underwent extensive psychological evaluations and more polygraph tests. One of the most famous tests was administered by a leading polygraph expert. After hours of questioning, the examiner concluded that Travis genuinely believed his story. He wasn't lying. Now, this doesn't definitively prove he was on a spaceship, but it does strongly suggest he wasn't consciously fabricating the experience. The trauma, the physical evidence, and the corroborating testimony of 6 other men made it difficult to dismiss. Over the years, critics have tried to poke holes in the story. They've suggested everything from a shared hallucination to an elaborate prank that went too far. Some have even theorized that Travis was injured in a logging accident and the UFO story was invented to cover it up. But none of these alternative theories fully explain all the facts. The consistent testimony of the crew, the past polygraph tests, Travis's 5-day disappearance despite a massive search, and his physical and psychological condition upon his return. The Travis Walton incident was adapted into the 1993 film Fire in the Sky. While the movie brought his story to a wider audience, it took significant creative liberties, especially with the abduction sequence, depicting it as a terrifying, torturous experience. Travis has stated that while his initial encounter was frightening, the movie's portrayal was far more horrific than what he actually remembers. To this day, Travis Walton stands by his account. He has written books, appeared in documentaries, and spoken at countless conferences, not as someone seeking fame, but as someone trying to share a profound and life-altering experience. He and the other crew members have faced decades of ridicule, but their stories have never wavered. So, what really happened in that Arizona forest in 1975? Was it a cleverly orchestrated hoax that has somehow held up for nearly 50 years? Was it a shared delusion among 7 men? Or did a young logger from Arizona really get taken aboard an extraterrestrial vehicle? The case remains a cornerstone of UFO lore because it is so rich in detail, supported by multiple witnesses, and has withstood intense scrutiny. It forces us to question our understanding of the world and what might lie beyond it. It's a mystery that endures, a story that continues to challenge believers and skeptics alike. What do you think? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you found this story as fascinating as I do, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more explorations into the unknown. Thanks for watching.